Welcome everyone to this deep dive into one of the most mysterious cryptid sightings in modern American history, the Dover Demon. Now, you might not have heard of the Dover Demon if you're not into cryptozoology or urban legends, but trust me, this eerie creature has fascinated people for decades. In this video, we'll explore its origins, the sightings, the theories behind what it could be, and dive even deeper into the possibilities that have kept this cryptid in the spotlight for so long. From misidentified animals to extraterrestrials to interdimensional beings, we'll leave no stone unturned. Buckle up, this is going to be a wild ride. Let's start with a little geography lesson, because where this story takes place is crucial. The Dover Demon was spotted in Dover, Massachusetts, a small, quiet town about 20 miles southwest of Boston. If you were to visit today, Dover looks like the quintessential New England village. Rolling hills, dense forests, quiet roads, and colonial-era homes dotting the landscape. It's the kind of town where you'd expect a cozy atmosphere, not an encounter with the unknown. But back in April 1977, Dover became the epicenter of something far more unsettling. Something out of this world maybe literally appeared. During a span of just 2 nights, Dover became the site of a series of bizarre, unexplained sightings. The first sighting occurred on the night of April the 21st, and the last one happened just 24 hours later. But those 2 nights sparked a legend that still endures today. So, what did people see in Dover? Well, what became known as the Dover Demon. Now let's jump right into the first sighting, which is really what kick-started the entire mystery. The first person to report seeing the Dover Demon was a 17-year-old named William Bartlett. On the night of April 21st, 1977, at about 10:30 p.m., Bartlett was driving down Farm Street, a dark, winding road just outside Dover, with 2 of his friends. As they passed by a stretch of stone wall that bordered the road, something strange caught Bartlett's attention. It was perched on the wall, and what he saw would go on to terrify him for the rest of his life. Imagine this. Bartlett described the creature as being around 4 feet tall. Its head was disproportionately large compared to its slender body, almost bulbous in shape, and its eyes were glowing orange, like burning embers in the dark. The creature's limbs were long and spindly, with exaggerated, almost spider-like arms and legs. And its skin? Bartlett said it was smooth and hairless, with a texture that resembled wet sandpaper, which gave it an otherworldly appearance. The most unsettling part? The creature was crawling on all 4s. It wasn't walking upright like a person or an ape. Instead, it moved in an animalistic, creepy way, using its long fingers to grip the rocks of the stone wall before it disappeared into the woods. Naturally, Bartlett was in shock. His friends didn't see the creature, but they could tell by the look on his face that something had seriously spooked him. Bartlett didn't waste any time sketching what he saw, and the image he drew is still one of the most iconic pieces of evidence associated with the Dover Demon. In fact, he signed the drawing with the statement, "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature." That's how seriously he took the encounter. He wanted people to know that this wasn't just a prank or a hallucination. He genuinely believed he had encountered something beyond explanation. But Bartlett's sighting wasn't an isolated event. Just a few hours later, around midnight, another teenager named John Baxter had his own chilling experience with the Dover demon. Baxter, who was 15 at the time, was walking home from his girlfriend's house, taking a path that led through a wooded area. He had just crossed a small bridge and was making his way down a deserted road when he noticed a figure ahead of him. At first, Baxter thought it might be a child, standing or walking along the road. He called out, expecting a response, but none came. That's when he started to feel uneasy. As Baxter got closer, the figure started to move, most quickly. It darted away into the woods. Baxter, curious but cautious, followed it. After a short distance, he found himself at the bottom of a small incline. But looking up, he saw the figure perched on a rock. And this is where things get really eerie. Baxter described the creature as having a large, oversized head, just like Bartlett's description. Its eyes were glowing in the darkness, and its long fingers seemed to wrap around the rock as it stood there, eerily still. Baxter was frozen with fear for a moment before his survival instincts kicked in, and he bolted, running as fast as he could back to the road and eventually to safety. Like Bartlett, Baxter later sketched the creature, and the two descriptions were strikingly similar, despite the fact that the two boys had not yet spoken to each other about their experiences. You'd think that 2 sightings in one night would be enough, right? But the story doesn't end there. The very next night, on April the 22nd, 1977, there was yet another sighting. This time, a girl named Abby Brabham, who was 15 years old, and her boyfriend Will Tainter, were driving near Springdale Avenue in Dover when they spotted something unusual by the side of the road. It was crouching low to the ground, and at first they thought it might be an animal. But as they slowed down to get a better look, they realized it was anything but. Brabham described the creature similarly to Bartlett and Baxter, a humanoid figure, about 4 feet tall, with an oversized head and long limbs. But she added an interesting detail. She said the creature's eyes were green, not orange like Bartlett had described. Could this have been a different creature altogether, or maybe the same one seen under different lighting conditions? Either way, Brabham and Taintor were both shaken by what they saw, and like the others, they reported it to local authorities. This third sighting, occurring just a day after the first 2, solidified the legend of the Dover demon. So what are we left with? 3 separate sightings involving 4 different witnesses, all within a 48-hour period. The descriptions were eerily similar. A small humanoid figure with a large head, glowing eyes and long, thin limbs. But here's where things get even more mysterious. After April 22nd, the sightings stopped. There were no more reported encounters with the Dover demon. It was as if the creature had appeared, left its mark, and vanished without a trace. No further sightings, no physical evidence, no explanations. Just a lingering mystery. Now, let's dig a little deeper into the theories surrounding the Dover demon. What could it have been? These sightings have sparked decades of speculation, with theories ranging from the mundane to the fantastical. Let's start with one of the most common explanations, a misidentified animal. Some skeptics have suggested that the witnesses might have simply seen a young animal, specifically a baby moose. Moose are known to be lanky, awkward creatures, especially as calves, and their gangly limbs could resemble the descriptions given by the witnesses. However, there are a few problems with this theory. First, moose are not commonly found in the Dover area. Massachusetts does have a moose population, but sightings in that part of the state are extremely rare, especially in 1977. And secondly, both Bartlett and Baxter were very clear in their descriptions. They said what they saw wasn't an animal. They emphasized the creature's humanoid features, its large head, and its eerie movements. To them, it didn't behave like any animal they'd ever seen. Another popular theory is that the Dover demon was some kind of extraterrestrial being. The description of the creature, a small body with a large head and glowing eyes, matches the grey alien archetype often reported in UFO encounters. Could the Dover demon have been an alien visitor, stranded on Earth for a brief time? Perhaps it was a scout, part of a larger extraterrestrial presence that we never saw. What's interesting is that there were no reported UFO sightings in Dover during that time, which complicates the alien theory. But in the world of cryptids and extraterrestrials, sometimes the absence of evidence is just as intriguing as the evidence itself. Then we have the paranormal explanation. Some researchers in the field of cryptozoology have suggested that the Dover demon could be an interdimensional being. The idea here is that certain cryptids, like Bigfoot or the Mothman, aren't necessarily creatures from our world. Instead, they might exist in parallel dimensions and occasionally cross over into ours. These beings could appear briefly, like the Dover demon did, before slipping back into their own dimension. It's an intriguing theory, especially since the sightings of the Dover demon were so fleeting, just 2 nights, and then nothing. It's almost as if the creature was only able to exist in our reality for a short period of time. Of course, there are more skeptical theories too. Some suggest that the sightings were the result of mass hysteria or the power of suggestion. After Bartlett's initial report, it's possible that the other witnesses were influenced by his description, even subconsciously. Teenagers, especially in a small town, could easily pass around stories that grow with each telling, and before you know it, everyone is seeing the same thing. However, it's important to note that Bartlett, Baxter, and Brabham all described the creature independently before they had a chance to compare stories. Let's take a step back and consider the cultural context in which the Dover demon appeared. The 1970s was a time of heightened interest in the paranormal, UFOs and cryptids. Shows like In Search of, and the works of authors like John Keel and Jacques Vallée were bringing these topics into the mainstream. People were fascinated by the idea that there were unknown creatures and beings out there, lurking just beyond the edge of our understanding. The Dover demon fit neatly into this cultural moment, a mysterious creature, seen only by a select few, leaving behind nothing but questions. Despite the many theories, no one has been able to definitively explain what the Dover demon was. There's no physical evidence, no follow-up sightings, and no scientific explanation that satisfies all the witnesses. And that's part of what makes this case so compelling. Unlike other cryptids that have been debunked or explained away, the Dover demon remains an enigma. Was it an alien, a cryptid, a product of overactive imaginations? We may never know for sure. In the years since the sightings, the Dover demon has taken on a life of its own in popular culture. It has appeared in books, television shows, and even video games. It's one of those regional legends that has grown beyond its original context to become part of the broader world of cryptozoology and paranormal lore. And while it may not be as famous as Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, the Dover demon holds a special place in the hearts of cryptid enthusiasts. So, what do you think? Was the Dover demon an alien, a cryptid, a misidentified animal? Or perhaps something else entirely? Whatever the answer, the Dover demon continues to fascinate and perplex people to this day. Whether or not we ever get to the bottom of this mystery, one thing's for sure: it's a story that will continue to capture imaginations for years to come. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into cryptid lore, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a mysterious creature sighting. Leave your thoughts and theories about the Dover demon in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.